Okay, folks, it's no mystery that I've been on the road for the past couple of months. My wife and I were doing this kind of experimental documentary, but also getting a chance to see America. The whole point of this video is because we have put in 11,000 miles in the past 2 months.
Then there's a Cadillac limousine, all jacked up. You got a missing front tire on a cinder block with an old building right behind it.
They'll see it.
It's gonna be
I can't hold my hand here forever.
We're back in California now, taking a little break. I had a corporate shoot to do. But anyways, I get asked lots of questions about, one, what the heck we're doing, and we're still trying to figure that out ourselves. But two, what is the most used gear that I've been using while I'm traveling across the country?
Like your TV show, what is it called?
DOGTIMES.
We went to New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Providence, Rhode Island, Boston, Massachusetts, New York. We were out on Lake Michigan, both on the Ludington, Michigan side and the Chicago side, then down to Kansas, and so on. Let's get into this. My 5 most used pieces of gear while traveling across the country on this weird nationwide documentary project that we're doing. And some of these were a surprise to me as well. And these are kind of all different scales. And we're not really going to talk about camera gear in terms of like what kind of camera, what cameras we're shooting on. I've done videos on that, talking about that, so you'll have to check out more of the archive on my YouTube channel here after you watch this video. There is one camera, I guess, that we'll technically talk about, but we're going to save that for the end because that is the most expensive piece of gear. But first I want to start with this little guy right here. This was a surprise to me. This is the Cinesaddle, and this is made by the company Cinesaddle. Now there is some generic companies that have just recently popped up and they've been putting out their own kind of Chinese knockoff versions of the Cinesaddle, but this one is actually the Cinesaddle made by the original company. I believe Cinesaddle is from Australia. The reason why I got this is, one, because this one is super inexpensive compared to the big Cinesaddles. The big ones, which you might see on big movie sets, big documentaries, those go for about $400. This one is less than $100. I love the Cinesaddle because I'm not a huge fan of gimbals, even though I do bring my Ronin with us along the travels. In fact, I never took the gimbal out once the whole 2 months we were on the road, and it's just because I'm not a big fan of running around with the gimbal. I don't like the level of attraction that it brings, whereas this is kind of low-key. You can just kind of have this strapped to your bag. This is great for using the huge 28 to 135 f4 power zoom that I use on the FX30. I know it's crazy to use that big power zoom on little mirrorless bodies. It wasn't necessarily used for mirrorless camera bodies, but I absolutely love that lens. It's the whole reason why I ever invested in the Sony ecosystem to begin with. I've talked about it at length on numerous videos. Again, I'll leave some playlists down in the description below for you to check out if you are new here. But I absolutely love this Cinesaddle because you can just put that big power zoom right in here. It cradles it and it just takes all the micro jitters out, and I just love it. But also for documentary work, you can put your little camera body right here in the middle, and this thing can sit on the dash of whatever vehicle you're on, and that's kind of cool too for doing like traveling time-lapse videos. After you get used to it and you see that it actually does truly help, certainly with B-roll, I find myself always strapping it to my bag now. Keeping along with bags and things, I am really excited to finally share this one with you guys, because this right here has been my main camera bag since the beginning. Since I first started doing kind of my street photography practices way back with the little Sigma FP camera, that's when I invested in this bag right here. This is the Bellroy 4-liter bag. They offer a great thing through Amazon where you can just test the bag out, and if it's too big for you, don't like it, you can just send it back. It is a true official Bellroy store. These bags are so nice. They're very sleek. I absolutely love this one. 4 liters might be too much for some of you, but it's kind of rad because, as you can see in here, my M10 just lives in there, and along with all of the accessories, extra battery, SD cards, the little VisaFlex EVF that sits on top, you know, if I'm going film wise, the M6 and some rolls of film. Inside here is a nice little zipper compartment, and that's specially padded, nice microfiber lining for sunglasses or eyeglasses, things like that, to keep those safe. As you'll see here on the other side, they have lots more room to store stuff. And I know it kind of turns into like a man purse, but again, for photographers, it's nice and sleek. What I love about it too, it's made out of this gusset material that expands or compounds based upon how much crap you have in here. So that's really nice, you know, because right now that I took the camera out, you see that it's nice and slim again. This thing is long enough. You could put a Nintendo Switch in here. You could put a Teenage Engineering OP1 in here for my musicians out there. It is so rad. The inside is nice and padded. The material is actually weather resistant, which is good for us tech guys, camera guys. This strap right here is adjustable, of course, but the best part is it's a quick release. Boom. You know, that's kind of a rad little system. It doesn't look gaudy. It doesn't look like a weird camera bag. It doesn't draw attention and say, hey, steal this camera bag. It just looks like a goofy little man sling bag. Again, you can get it smaller, but I kind of appreciate the size of it. Again, because it has that gusset material to compound and get skinnier or fatter depending on whatever you have in here. Excellent bag. I cannot recommend it enough. I have been using it since the Sigma FP days, which means it's been a couple years now, right? So this has been my ¡1 bag. I use it all the time. Bellroy should definitely think about sponsoring the channel because I love their products. And what I like about it too, Bellroy is kind of, I don't want to say bougie, but they're a little bit of step up beyond just like normal camera bag companies, something like a Peak Design or some Peter McKinnon stuff. I know you guys love that stuff, but me, I don't know. I like the brands I like for specific reasons. So absolutely recommend this bag 100%. Now check this out. This right here was something my wife picked up for me. I didn't know how I feel about this, but it actually comes in clutch for someone like me out there shooting both digital and analog. So this is made by a company called BlackRapid, and this is the double camera sling. Really, really wild. This is great for wedding guys, documentary guys, because you can have 2 different focal lengths. Sometimes I'll put my Sony FX30 on one side and my M10 on the other. Photo and video to shoot at the same time, different focal lengths for photo, all different things. Let me show you how you throw this on real quick. This unhooks like this, right? You throw this over here. You throw this under here, I believe. Now let me see how far back we can go. So now let me grab the M6, and you'll notice how it has these little carabiners that lock. They spring lock, okay? So you can quickly pop them on and off, and they're securely locked. And they come with these little guys that have grip, so you don't even need a tool to attach different cameras. If you have lots of different cameras for my wedding guys or documentary guys, and you're just using a lot of different ones, and that's kind of how it is. You know, you bring one up, and obviously you can make each of these longer or shorter, but they're just always right here on my side. But I'm always having one in my hand anyways, so really the one on the left is kind of nice. I'm a little bit ambidextrous, so it doesn't bother me too much. Yeah, I do recommend it for guys out there shooting more than one focal length. Again, combining photo with video, that kind of thing. BlackRapid, check them out. I'll have a link to their Amazon page down below. You can see how quick it is just to attach or reattach a camera. It looks a little wild, but what I like to do is put this on and then put like button T over it or something, and that makes it a little bit more discreet. That's how I was shooting that fair, I guess you'd call it a carnival out there in Providence. You got to see what it looks like underneath whatever the overshirt is, or like a coat or something. It might get a little warm on you, but I don't know. It's something just to stay a little bit more discreet because it does look a little wild. But if people know that you're there to shoot, like wedding guys, again, I keep saying that, I think people would expect to see that on you. Like, oh wow, he's the real deal. You know, certainly we've seen plenty of guys with those kind of harnesses. Okay, the fourth one is something that people ask me all the time about what mic I'm using, certainly with the past 4 or 5 videos I put out when I was on the road. And that's this little guy right here. I did a full review on it already, the Tascam DR10L Pro. I'll leave a link to the original review. You can, for a little bit more money, buy a Bluetooth module that fits inside here, and then it works with the app. You're not able to monitor the audio through the app, sadly, but you can watch the audio waveform. You can start, stop, all of that. What I love about it is it has a really good low cut filter. It's got a really good auto leveler on it, but most importantly, as we see nowadays, it does have 32-bit float. You combine all of that with the amazing voice isolation plugin in DaVinci Resolve, and it works quite excellent. That's the audio you've been hearing from me for the past few videos now, quite like, I think like 4 or 5 past videos, including this one. And why I love this for what I'm doing is because I constantly just walk around with it on me and let it roll. People come up to me to talk to me, and I could just organically capture those conversations. When I was in Ludington, Michigan, we went and visited my 99-year-old great aunt Millie. I just had this rolling and captured some beautiful stories from her, just talking organically and naturally. If you just want to capture ambient audio, it works really well for that. It works really well for these talking head things. I love it. I love it. I cannot recommend it enough. So that's what I've been using. Now the last one. I picked this up while we were already on our travels in Tennessee, and I'm glad I did. It's been a long time since I've had a drone. The drone I used to have was the original Mavic Pro. I used to do videos on it way back when I first started doing YouTube videos back in January 2019 was the beginning of my YouTube channel, and I used to do some videos. I have videos where I literally crashed my Mavic Pro. I got rid of that, obviously, and I just wasn't really, I don't know, I I've been staying away from drones for a while, but this one just really sold me. This is the DJI Mini Pro 4. I think that's what it's called. I'm going to just show you tons of footage that I've captured with it. It's an amazing little drone. It's so lightweight. It's so small that you don't actually need your pilot's license to fly this little thing. I don't know. I guess there's some things going on right now with the Supreme Court and DJI drones in general. I don't know what that's all about, but maybe that these little DJI drones are going to get shut down eventually anyways. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe someone watching this has more information on that. You can let us know down in the comments below what's going on with all of that. But this thing has sensors all around it, 360 degrees, which is great for guys like me that never watches the drone. When I'm flying it, it always crashes. I have not crashed this one yet. I've flown it all over multiple places. Here you see me flying it around the Sun Sphere in downtown Knoxville, Tennessee. I absolutely love this thing. It captures great footage. It's 10-bit, 4K, 60 frames per second, all of that. I think it even goes to like 120 frames. You guys know I don't really mess with slow-mo and stuff all that much, but you have the opportunity to do that. It goes really far for how tiny it is. I mean, I've flown this thing extremely far away, extremely high in the air. I think something like, I think it goes like 1,200 meters high or something like that. It's quite gnarly the distance you can go with it. When we were visiting our friends in Providence, Rhode Island, they live in a little neighborhood, and I flew it damn near all the way into downtown Providence. So the distance you can go is insane. And that's another bonus of this one, that if you spend a little more and you get the remote, has the built-in LCD screen on it. And I absolutely love that, because me coming from the original Mavic Pro, always having to plug your phone in, your phone's about to die, the remote and the drone flying just instantly started eating the battery on the iPhone. So now having it all in one is just excellent. My one complaint about it is that the battery life on these things still has not improved. The battery life has always been an issue with the DJI drones. Also, even when it's just sitting in the bag for a few days, magically the batteries lose power just sitting in the bag. So that's always been an issue with the DJI drone batteries. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, you get used to it over time. I love just how simple this thing just flies on its own. It has a simple return to home button. It returns home. You can be anywhere. The remote lets you know, like, hey, you're losing signal or something now. Just double tap that, it flies right home to you. You don't have to do anything. Just amazing technology inside of this thing. I cannot recommend that enough, especially for me. I'm not a big drone guy, you guys know that. But for someone like me, just kind of doing his own little low budget stuff, it's quite excellent for. We all know how drones just instantly improve the production value of anything that you're watching. I don't know, it just has that little magical touch that it does. And you can get the D-Log out of this, the DJI log profile. I mean, at least it's 10-bit, which is nice. The other thing is that even though as tiny and lightweight, it definitely feels like a toy. It can withstand some wind. I was flying it in downtown Chicago here. Those winds that day were like 26 to 30 mile per hour winds. No problem, flying right along Lake Michigan, as you can see here. You can't really tell, you know, it's just moving along quite good, and it was getting whipped around really, really good. It's got a really good gimbal built into it. I recommend it if that means anything to you. And coming from the original Mavic Pro, it's just night and day, man. So that's gonna do it, guys. Just a quick video on my most 5 essential pieces of gear that I've been using on a real world travel documentary. 11,000 miles in 2 months. Hopefully when we go back out, we're gonna be moving a little slower. This first outing was more like the family location scout tour, right? Because going to see a lot of family members that I haven't seen in years, and some friends that Marianne hasn't seen in years as well. So we're kind of doing like the friends and family tour, but also kind of scouting. We did manage to get a couple episodes in the bag. Well, we have to edit them still, but we got enough material there, enough footage, enough photos to put out this. And it's a really interesting kind of experimental documentary that we're doing. Everyone keeps talking and asking about it. What is it? What it has nothing to do with the history of America. Nothing cool like that. There's nothing sexy about it. It's me, you know. So it's very DOGTIMES. It's very raw, kind of gummo style, if you know what I'm talking about. And just the reality of the world that actually exists beyond the filtered social media land that we all want to pretend that we're a part of. You know, I'm more attracted to the reality of the situation, and I like showing what America really looks like. And that's not a bad thing, is it? It's just the reality of the world. People still want to hide what the reality of anywhere where they are actually looks like. That's not to say I'm showcasing like homeless people and all of this horrible stuff, which I'm not. You know, I have my own moral boundaries as well. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not showing ugly, horrible things. I'm just showing real stuff that I observe through my eyes, through my personality, what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm smelling. So that's kind of what the local calls photo is going to be all about. Again, we are on YouTube, we are on Instagram, but it's a slow moving thing. Nothing has really been released except the few very, very small, tiny reels that we've put out, a little bit of taste. But I'm working with my wife, who's an amazing editor, and I'm really having her help me curate it, because I want to make sure that it comes out a little bit more polished than what you see on my Instagram or on my YouTube channel. Because if you guys know me, everything I do has a little bit of chaos to it, which I'm fine for my own stuff. But when it comes to something like this, where other people are involved, I don't want to let my chaos ooze over into other people's, you know, artistic endeavors, right? So, all right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for the support. Check out the links down below. You know, don't be shy. Help out the channel. Just, it's as simple as clicking those links. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Like, dude, I'm so jealous that Los Angeles can't be as clean as all these other cities, you know, because we've been to Boston now, we've been to Providence, Rhode Island, been here in Chicago, Knoxville. All these cities are so, I'm like, what is it? I'm like, oh yeah, they're clean.